Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Now, this video is not prepared for everyone. It is prepared for my white brothers and sisters only. If you are not white, thank you for clicking in, but I'll have another video for you. You can bet. Thank you very much. My white brothers and sisters, I'm your brother. I claim to be. I claim you as my family. And I'm going to tell you some things that I think you already know, that you've needed to hear from others, but for the most part, they do not tell you, and the reasons might be many. But I know that it is good for you to listen. You have been, to most people in America, very special. You have been, at one time, wonderful, at other times frightening, at other times crazy. You've been respected, and even respected when you've been disrespected. And people know you quite well. Black people know you quite well, white people. Now, when I was a kid, I saw my future being successful because I knew the trick. To me, the trick was to find my love, my joy, what I'm about, and find a group of white people in that same interest and attach myself to them. They have to be the kinds that are successful. Nonetheless, I'm there. And just being their justification, their excuse, they'd see me through. I knew that I would be successful if I attached myself to the power. And there's no doubt it would have happened. In other words, I would have been kissing boots. Yes, I'd have been kissing boots, and they'd have got me right where I wanted to go. Then I become a part of the team, and I would be just what they are, what you are, my brothers and sisters. Now, I'm telling you this because there's something else that happened. We have, as Americans, gone to the same churches and things, and we've used basically the same scriptures. But these scriptural expressions have meant one thing to white people and different things to black people. Now, the understanding is that basically in the beginning, what we were taught as black people was what you white people taught us and what we had to say. And we didn't question it because what we know about Christianity, that's what we were using. And so we just echoed that on. And the thing that got us when we learned what was happening, when we heard the word, and we would listen to the word, and we would watch white people. And it appeared, though, everything that they would say in the scriptures about what was evil, it appeared that white people were doing it. Not all white people, I don't guess. But it was done in such a way that it was coming from the people that had the power. And so it was like the scripture was saying that this action represented evil, devilish, destructionness. And it appeared that all of that stuff was attached to the white people. Now, white people, I think somebody was telling you that you had the right to, because of the scripture, to enslave people, use them. And you did it. And it appears, as my brothers and sisters, you, I'm sure know, is that it is, in America, all the ugliness. Now, I know you try to say black people doing something, but all of the real ugliness come from white people. I mean, it's just like the ugly stuff. When you see black people, let me just leave black people out here. Let me talk about you. You seem to be so evil. You see, it seems like there's no low you won't go. Now let me give you an example, because I really wanted to talk to you, but I know you don't want to listen to me too long. So if I don't say it quick, you're gonna be gone. Listen, let's look at Trump and the way he came in. Now, see, to us, people who believe, according to another group of people, Trump came in straight out of the pit of hell. Why? Because he was doing everything, lying, had reputation of cheating and stealing. And you could see right there in the midst of his activities, he crawled and creating hate and racism and bigotry and stuff, all that, because he was right in line with it. And all those people came up out of there and under the couches and stuff, and whoo, like raising hands and saying, we're ready for it. And you say, wow. I'm just talking about on that, because I was on the other side of Christianity, okay? I'm a different place now, but I'm speaking from the other side of Christianity. We were saying, wow, you guys got to be out of your mind. So when Elijah Muhammad called you devils, the only thing that kept us who weren't Muslims from calling you devils is that in the scriptures that we were taught, we had to love you as human beings, evil though you were. But part of being born again, part of being an example of truth is that we have to understand your falseness. We understand you have to learn just like everybody else. We understand that you haven't learned. I don't know what took you to the point that you're at, where every time you get in a challenge or something, look at you guys. What do you want to do? You went to the state capitol. And what did you do? You try to destroy that place. I mean, you try to destroy that place. What are you guys doing when you're talking about defending yourself? You're trying to get guns and intimidate people. Ugliness. Ugliness, just like a devil. I'm just telling you, and you ought to be ashamed, but I know you're not, because this is seemingly the only way you've always known. And there are those who don't do the things that you do, but they rather see what you do done than to take a step in faith or to play a role in it. And so the thing keeps on going. But it keeps on going because of the things that everybody does, but you're the ones in the power. You're the ones that, all you got to do is, people say, if you're taking the leadership, then take the necessary action that needs to be done. People will say Donald Trump needs to get up there and tell the folks that he lied about that vaccine, that he'd taken it and worked and tell everybody are crazy that they don't take it. And people are saying he or she should say that. Well, why should Donald Trump do that? Somebody needs to stand up and tell this nation that it's crazy if it keep on the same path that it's on. This is just as crazy as those people out there won't take this vaccine to save their lives. Train on the same path is just as crazy as it can be. And you are the leadership. You're the ones that leading this country. You're the ones that saying you're superior. You're the ones that got to control. You ought to be ashamed of yourself and your spokesman asking a crook in another war to give him some information to help him fight a war over here, and this nation hears it. This nation hears it. We see it. You see you're changing the laws. It's as evil. It's as evil as evil can get. And then you think about the church that's supposed to tell you this kind of stuff, and they're over there with you. And when they thought they wanted you back in power so bad, they're asking the angels out of Africa, angels from where, to come and put you in, because they were believing that this is so true that these angels are going to do this for you. These angels didn't do nothing, then you know it's not true. You ought to be ashamed for that. All of you prophets out there prophesying these things about what's going to happen, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Don't come tell them, oh, you made a mistake this time. You ought to be ashamed. You are the reason, well, you ain't the only reason, but you're a major reason why this crap keeps going. Yeah. See, I can say this to you because I know what I'm talking about. See, God is smart. God took me back in time and said, I got a job for this nut. That nut was me. He said, I got a job, I'm going to use you. I didn't know that, but God was saying, I'm going to use you. God. And all since that time, God has brought me to this point, to this moment in time, to be able to stand before you and tell you that I know what I'm talking about. Let me tell you something. You men out there in every country, white or black or wherever you are in power, you have deceived yourselves. You think just because you got somebody listening to you and you can control them that you got some real power. You don't have any power. You don't have any power, just like a mountain standing there for however long it's standing up there. And all of a sudden you can see that stuff wiped out like muddy water wiping out any town. That's the power of the Almighty who created all of the stuff against the crap you're doing. All of the crap you're doing is causing pain and suffering just for a few. It's like the millionaires, the multimillionaires, the billionaires in this country that's got money to float, doing little nothing, just having fun, and they're giving them money. Just give it to them, just to float. And people out here dying on the streets, asking, doing everything they possibly can. But your mind is so tied up in that old crazy, ignorant, evil stuff, believing that you're superior to and have no evidence. So what am I saying? You ought to really be ashamed. When I saw a brother got up out of a seat the other day and slapped another brother side of the head, I wanted to get under the bed. I couldn't believe that that people who carry themselves a certain way could be so stupid and ignorant. I wanted to hide. But then I think about Donald Trump, white. He talks about white. I think he got, I don't know what color his eyes or what color his hair and stuff, but he one of those guys that, you know, and you, look at the Senate. Look at the Senate. Those guys that allowed Donald Trump to mess over this nation the way he did. Now you say, well, he didn't mess with us, he was doing good stuff. Maybe he was doing good stuff for some folks. But he wasn't doing a darn thing for other folks. And to that, I would say all of the presidents are the same way, even including Barack Obama. People might say, well, they held Barack Obama back and he couldn't do too much for this reason or that reason. Whatever reason you give him, whatever excuse you give him, it doesn't make any difference. It's the same program. And it would have been the same outcome regardless of who's up there in a system designed to do exactly what it's doing. And it's a white system designed by white people to benefit white people. And you ought to be ashamed. Now, let me tell you why I say you ought to be ashamed. I didn't think to talk this long. Let me tell you what God did so I can show you I know what I'm talking about. God says that everything belongs to God. And he wanted to make sure that all human beings were taken care of, basic human rights. And all of the things that were required to take care of, to do that, have already been given that God has to do. And the rest of it is in us. And in order for us to be able to benefit from it, like the heavenliness, we have to have a heart. We have to know God. We have to know God. That means we have to listen to God. What does that mean? That means we have to know that the stuff of this earth came from God and not from any man. I don't care whose name is on it. I don't care how they say they got it. If it's not working for everybody, in such a way that it works for everybody, it's being, what? Exploited. And the people. I know that for a fact. God knows that. That's in us. How you got to get some, but you got it so fixed up. The people don't even think about how you got this stuff. They just think you got some stuff and then you the big man, you smart, you got business, because that's that crap you taught them. Now, people, let me tell you something. God made sure that you would have no excuse. He sent a man to this country running for president of the United States. And what was his platform? His platform was food, clothing, shelter, education, health care, and transportation infrastructure, and anything that you can imagine that you wanted to engage yourself in would be available to you, and to make sure that everybody was satisfied, everybody who would possibly benefit from any of these things, that's everybody, would be given a special gift, have been given a special gift, evidenced by the fact that they're here, to develop it, engage it. That means everybody working. Engage it in the process of creating all of the stuff that exists. And it didn't cost one penny. And it was filled with 100% joy in the process of making it. And every need, every want, every desire would be met. Now, that God sent a man to the United States of America and ran for president at least 6 times. And you don't even know it. Now, you know what's the most hurting thing, eye-opening thing? That's why it was so hurting, because now you can see it. Is that it was totally rejected. No newspaper, radio station, TV station, newspaper station would tell you one thing about it, because he would not give them one penny to tell you. He just did what he could, pass flyers out, CDs, DVDs, spoke on the streets, wherever he could. Gave the message. Gave it to the newspapers, they wouldn't print it. Gave it to the TV station, they weren't telling it. Money, money, money. Wouldn't give you nothing. Why? Why would you just pay somebody to tell you that? If you got to pay to tell you that you could have those wonderful things of God, then you do not deserve them. I mean, they're free. Joyously getting them. How? Now, everybody got a job. Everybody. A career of their own choosing. And you, well, you say, well, the newspaper didn't tell us, the TV stations didn't tell us, so we didn't know. Oh, you knew. You knew. It just didn't, the word didn't spread because it's not the of the plan. Now, for 6 times every 4 years, and then what happens? Here comes somebody seems like they're coming out of the pit of hell. Hatred, racism, get them shit houses and all of this. And you went crazy. Who? The newspapers, the television station, who else out there? Everybody that's out there. They just went stone crazy every time this, what we call evil, opened his mouth or did anything. They were there day and night, over and over, year after year after year. And he had nothing decent to do for the people, had nothing to offer the people of this nation. Nothing. And the people of the nation just split. And now it's all tearing apart, tearing apart. You know why? Because of white people who run this nation. Now, white people, that's your part. The other part is black folks who let you do it. Look, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody that's alive, that is born again with the Spirit of God, there is no life living in hell. Anybody, let me say it again. Anybody born of the Spirit of God, there is no life living in hell. And you're not going to find anyone that's going to sit back after being born again and say, well, I just want to make it through. I got a good life now. I got me some books. I can do this. I can do that. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, but you can't. Why? Because you don't know what's going on. You're just playing a part of the game. You think you do. You're caught up in the matrix. You're not free. Freedom tells you one thing. What? As soon as you know that, well, you know, it come together. Freedom tells you that you're in the wrong place. Not only that, freedom wants you to get out. You want to get out. And you know what? They're trying to get you out. Why? Because this is hell. Hell, what I mean, this is hell. Hell is where lies and all of the stuff that goes on is going on. That's hell. And a person who wakes up and say, oh, no, they ain't going for this. You say, how do they shine? They're not running. They're not running. They're standing there doing exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm sitting here making this video to tell my white brothers and sisters that we can have a wonderful life if they wake up. Do you know what they're saying about you? You're walking around here thinking that you're so special. But you know what the world is saying about you? The world is saying if it were not for black people in America, America would be a third world nation. That's what they're saying about you. Because you don't have a heart. You are selfish. You think you're the best. You always teach yourself, America the best. Why do you do that? You're putting yourself up against every nation on the face of the earth when you're brothers. You don't have to compete to be free. Be free, my friends, and all other stuff. Just come. You don't be free. Look. Well, anyway, I want to thank you so much for those of you who are still listening. I just want you to know that you are not the best thing. You are the problem today. And all of the politicians that's talking to you about telling you what they can do for you, they cannot do one thing for you but take you a step deeper in hell. It's every last one of them. Every last one of them talking to you about being your president can do one thing but take you down a step deeper to the pits of hell. And the preachers that are out here talking, they can't do anything either. So if you're looking for some liberty, if you're looking for, what's the word called? Liberation. If you want that, let me tell you where to find that liberation is. Go inside of yourself. Go inside of yourself and see everybody as you're looking inside of yourself as you. And what you see for yourself, the goodness, and that's what you see, I hope. The joy of life that you see by going inside of yourself, that's the spirit of love for yourself. But you will find that it doesn't stop there because you're not entitled to any of that stuff. that you see, unless everybody else is entitled to the same things that they see. That does not infringe upon the rights of any others, nor cause any pain or suffering. It is divine. And whoever can clap their hand or slap you side your head for doing stuff like that, you should give them $100 if you got it. If they can just get you out of this hell. But see, you just, let me go, ladies and gentlemen. I keep on talking. Thank you so very much.